Rise and shine, it's Entspresso time. Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and successful people don't wake up and go, yes, another day, I'm gonna crush it. No, they wake up just like you and I. The difference is they have habits and routines, like watching one of these videos, that set them up for success. So let's start your day off right together. Grab your coffee, know that I believe in you. And in celebration of my recent one-on-one with John Assaraf, enjoy this shot of Entspresso from our vaults.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
We developed our company at Praxis. We developed a process called the 5R process. And the first R stands for recognize your thought patterns, recognize your emotions, recognize your behaviors, and ask yourself, are they going to move me towards what I want or away from what I want?
Okay, so you don't try to change anything, just ask yourself.
You recognize, just become more aware. And then instead of reacting to what you don't like, you learn how to respond. That's the second R. So recognize, then respond. Can I change this? Can I change the meaning of this? Can I change the emotion of this? Can I change anything about this that is destructive? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
The third part is to reframe anything that doesn't work for you. So whether it's a person, a situation, a circumstance, how can you reframe it? Look at it from a different point of view so that it doesn't have the same meaning anymore. And one of the things that we know is the meaning that we give anything determines how we feel about it.
Yes.
The meaning we give it, nothing has a meaning independent of our own thoughts and meanings. So can we reframe something, look at it a different way, emotionalize it a different way, so that we can use it as opposed to it using us? The fourth part is when we're feeling a negative or destructive emotion, can we, through breathing exercises, through reframing, release that emotion? Because every emotion is a wave. So there are 6 main emotions that we have. There's sub-emotions as well, but we feel fear, anger, sadness, happiness, disgust, etc. And those cause us to feel a certain way. So is there a way for us to release the unpleasant emotions? There's not good or bad emotions. They're pleasant or unpleasant.
Yeah.
And that comes directly from one of my dear friends, Dr. Joan Rosenberg, who's an emotional mastery expert.
Wow.
And so when you think about, is this emotion pleasant? Yes, okay, good, let's do more of that. Is this emotion unpleasant? Okay, well, what's causing it? Usually what's causing it is something from my past that is telling me that whatever's happening.
Maybe I can reproduce it.
Well, if it's a unpleasant emotion, usually it's a memory from the past versus reality. And so when you learn that emotions last 90 seconds to 1 minute and 20 seconds, 2 minutes, and if you just observe it and feel the emotion, it's like a wave. Feel the emotion without getting into the reaction of the emotion. Observe it. Now you're in control of the emotion. Now you're learning to surf the wave instead of being hit by the wave. And then the fifth part is now to retrain your brain. So recognize, respond, reframe, release, and now I want to retrain my brain to have a different thought pattern, a different emotional response, and a different behavior, so that I change the pattern in my brain so it doesn't happen again. And if you do that 1 time, 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, the same thought or the same emotion or the same circumstance won't have the same power to cause you to freeze or run away or fight. Now we're starting to get in control.
Yeah, it's great.
Of
Great
our
process.
own,
I love it.
of our own brains, our own emotions, and now we can start to use the spiritual side of our being, the higher side of our being, to move towards the greatness that I think is within every human being.
You retrain your brain one small decision at a time. It's one small step at a time. This is where so many people fail and fall down, is you think that retraining your brain is making just one decision, one giant decision, and now I'm not gonna be this person anymore. And then what happens is you become that person again, and then you let yourself down, you stop trying, you say it's never gonna happen for me, I'm just this kind of person, and I'm just gonna accept it. Where the retraining is one step at a time. It's one single decision at a time, and every time you do it, every time you say yes, every time you notice that that thing is gonna happen again, and then you make a shift, you make a change, you start to change your identity and retrain your brain. So I was on a podcast last night with my friend Mark Drager, Something Approved podcast. If you haven't checked it out yet, if you go subscribe, I'm sure Mark would really appreciate it. I would too. And we were talking about how to be better with people, how to be a better leader, how to understand people better, how to have higher emotional intelligence when talking to people. And I shared an example of, at my business, Toronto Dance Salsa, Alex, who helps me run it, who I've been training and mentoring and working with for a number of years now. If he's a minute late for something, if he's a second late for something, I'm out. Because he has a problem, or had a problem with being late for things, which really just speaks to his own self-worth of what time means, right? It's not even about other people around him, it's about his own self-worth about what time means. And so there's a new instructor who joined our school, and I was gonna have my first meeting with the new instructor to talk to him, to get to know him, to see what he's all about. And at that first meeting, he was 15 to 20 minutes late. And Alex couldn't believe that I was waiting. It's like, well, why are you still here? Why don't you take off? I mean, if it was me, if I was a second late, you would have left by now. Why are you still here 15 to 20 minutes later waiting for this guy? And I said, because I haven't built the relationship with him yet. Because if I leave and it's you, you feel the love. Like, you already know the love. It's based off of a foundation of love. If you're gonna push somebody hard, they have to feel the love. If I leave, you know that that's actually a great lesson for you. If I leave for him, we haven't built a relationship yet. So how I treat him is going to be different than how I treat you because of the relationship. And so how do you figure that out? Well, it's one step at a time, right? How do you retrain your brain? How do you figure that out? How do you understand how to treat people? Whatever skill set you want to work on. If you just constantly treat everybody the same, if you constantly react the same way to something, you're going to lose. And so Mark then asked, well, this just feels exhausting. It feels like I'm just gonna make tons of mistakes everywhere. It feels overwhelming. It feels like I'm never gonna get this, and I'm just bad at this. And that's what you want to avoid. The idea that you're just gonna get it, and that you have to hold yourself to a standard of perfection every time. And that if you don't hit perfection, you suck, you're a loser, it's never gonna work out for you. All you have to do is catch it every now and then. Like, as soon as you catch it, you're not gonna catch all of them. Whatever you want to retrain your brain on, you're so hardwired to keep doing that same pattern over and over and over again. You just naturally gravitate to this, that you're going to miss most things. You're going to miss most of it. If my biggest fear is disappointing people, I try to catch it, right? Whenever I can catch it and bring it to the conscious, then it's what do I do about it? But most of the time, I'm not going to catch it. Most of the time, you're not catching how you played small. I probably played small 20 times already today, subconsciously, never noticing, never catching it. Don't judge yourself for not catching it. But when you do catch it, what do? When you catch yourself playing small, when you catch yourself doing that same mistake again, when you're about to make that mistake again, that you've always made, that you want to change, that you want to shift, now what do? It's taking the action that would make you proud and not being obsessed with making it perfect. You're gonna get things wrong. It's okay. So these are the two mistakes that I think a lot of people make when they're trying to retrain their brain. The mistake number one is, I'm just one decision away and then everything changes. In that you're gonna go to the gym and just instantly lift 500 pounds. It's not gonna happen. You train your muscles to be able to lift more weights. You go into the gym and you lift 10 pounds and then 20 pounds and then 30 pounds and you start training that muscle. It's not just gonna happen. You will let yourself down if you think just because you had one great day that every day is gonna be great ongoing, right? It's the muscle you work. And then two, just expecting the perfection and judging yourself so harshly when it's not perfect, when you missed it, when you didn't make yourself proud.
All that matters if you want to shift your behavior, you want to retrain your brain, is that more often than not, you're making a change. More often than not. I like to play League of Legends. I've got a gaming channel where I play League of Legends. My goal is to get the gold. And I'm a silver player right now, which is about average as a gamer, and I want to get gold, which is above average. And to climb, to get better, right? To go and move from silver to bronze, I just need to win more than 50% of the games. It's not about winning 100% of the games. If you win 51% and play enough games, you're gonna get the gold, right? I'm gonna get the gold. And that's the game we're playing. All you have to do is catch it 51% of the time and do something about it. When you catch it, are you doing something about it? Don't worry about being perfect. Don't worry about the execution being 100% on. Don't worry about making mistakes. You're going to. Don't worry about letting yourself down and thinking those thoughts again. You're going to. But if you're catching it and doing something 51% of the time, you're going to start to retrain your brain. You're going to start to shift your behavior. You're going to look at where you're at, right? Think about who you used to be. Think about who you used to be. Think about who you were 5 years ago. How differently you think. How differently you think, how differently you act, how your mindset has changed. There'll be a lot of growth that's happened to you in the past 5 years. If you're watching videos like this, if you're investing into yourself, if you're learning, if you're trying to get better, if you look out on a 5-year window, you recognize how much you've grown. Maybe you haven't seen the results yet in your business, but as a human, how much have you grown? How many lessons could you go back and give to yourself from 5 years ago? Probably a lot, right? Probably a lot. Most people stay stuck. Most people aren't investing in themselves, aren't learning. And so that's the kind of horizon you need to start looking on. How did you get to where you're at now? How did you grow over the past 5 years? It's because of some kind of consistent scheduling of personal development. Whether it's videos or books or podcasts or seminars or something, you've invested into yourself, you've grown and you've learned and you've gotten better. You have to apply that same formula, that same strategy to retraining your brain. What's the thing that you want to change? Maybe it's when somebody leaves a negative comment on your videos. You don't want to be impacted so hard. You don't want it to mean that you then get depressed for a week or you don't make more content. So you write it down. This is what I want to do. When I am hit with a negative comment, here's my strategy. I want to have empathy for the person. I want to recognize that they're in a lot of pain, that they don't even know me, and that they're just lashing out, and then default back to service to say, I'm still making content because I want to help other people, because I still have a mission that maybe not everybody understands, but I'm still trying to get better at doing this stuff, right? So that's your strategy. Then you're going to get hit with a negative comment. And then your mind's gonna go back to where it used to be, right? Of feeling rejection, feeling not good enough, feeling you don't have the skills. And you have to remind yourself of what your process is gonna be. And if more often than not, you then get back up and you keep making content, you're going to start to shift your identity, start to shift your brain to the point where now you become that new person. And it's not gonna happen just in one day, in one sitting, but every time you get that negative comment, you look at it, you look at your 3-step checklist, and you do it, you start to slowly shift your brain. You're retraining your brain of a new way to respond. And you can apply that to anything. What's the habit that you want to change? What's the thinking pattern, thinking process that you want to change? Whether it's stop eating junk food, whether it's believing in yourself more, whether it's not being so hard on yourself, whether it's whatever it is. Like, what's the behavior change that you want to make? I encourage you to write it down. What's the behavior change that you now want to make? Write it down. And then what's your strategy going to be? In my FlexDX program, it's actually free. You can go to everyonecarmichael.com/flexdx.pdf. You can get the daily goal tracker that I use myself to stay consistent on habits. This starts retraining the brain. Right now I'm in the middle of a 90-day no junk food, no sugar challenge. And every day you mark the X. But what the genius thing about that sheet is, it's not just the X's, it's here's what's gonna trip me up, right? So what's the goal? 90 days, no junk food, no sugar. Why it's so important to me. And you write things down of why it's so important to you, right? I wanna be healthy, I wanna look good naked, I wanna have great blood test results, right? I wanna live a long time, like whatever is meaningful to you. And then the third step is, what's going to trip you up? What's going to be the thing that will throw you off track? So for me, it would be if there's bad weather, like there is right now, right? I'll often get a headache. When there's a lot of pressure above, I get headaches easily, which will make me default to want to go eat something super salty or junk food. If I haven't slept, then I'll have a lower resistance. It'll be harder for me. Then I have to keep going. If I'm stressed out or really trying to think about something, trying to work through a problem, I like to nibble on something. It helps me as a stress response or helps me problem solve. And so I know that these are going to be my triggers. And then I write down on the sheet, here's what I'm going to do. So instead of stress eating, I'm going to go for a walk, because I also get great ideas when I'm walking. So I'm just replacing a negative habit with a positive one. When the weather is crazy like this and causing me pressure, I'm going to go a little bit easier on myself. I'm going to take a lot more deep breaths and drink a lot more water. These are my strategies. So I can see, oh, the weather's here. Instead of default reacting to how I would normally, because it's easy for me to go off and eat junk. I woke up this morning. The first thought I had in my mind was potato chips. I don't know why. First thought, potato chips. Like, okay, I can't do that. Oh, it's high pressure, snowing outside. Okay, I need to drink a lot of water. I need to breathe. I have my plan. And the more consistently you follow the plan, you can get your own for free, FlexiX. The more consistent you follow the plan, the more you start to retrain your brain. So now, cloudy, snowy weather means breathing and extra water instead of defaulting to junk food. And the more that you make that change consistently over time, the more you start to retrain your brain. The FlexiX has a 18-day version because it takes at least 18 days of consecutive days of action to make the habit change. 66 days is the average, and 254 is the worst case, the slowest amount of time to actually build the habit. But if you start tracking, and every day you're 51%, you're doing it, right? You're taking the action of who you want to be, your brain starts to get reprogrammed and retrain yourself towards the habits that are helping you build the life that you want. It's not going to happen in one sitting, and that's okay. Don't judge yourself harshly if you let yourself down the next day and you're not as motivated as you were yesterday. If you get up every day and make one small little adjustment, you start retraining your brain for the life that you want.
Now, I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the good deed of the day. This is something new. I believe that you're built to serve, and it feels so good to do something nice for somebody else. So good deed of the day, put down in the comments one thing that you need help with, that you're working on, that you'd love some support or guidance on. And then 2, go comment on somebody else's comment and give them some love, give them some support, give them some encouragement, maybe give them some connections, try to help them solve that problem. Even if it's saying, I believe in you. That one little bit of encouragement can be the difference between somebody quitting and continuing on. So the good deed of the day, in the comments below, write down one thing that you need help on, that you're struggling with, that you're working on. And then part 2 is go give love to somebody else in the comments too, and let them know that you believe in them as well.
Hey, this is John Assaraf, and do you love good books? I love to read because there's so much wisdom in books. You get to take somebody else's knowledge, skills, research, pay $15, $20, and you learn so much. Now, I'm reading this awesome book called Built to Serve. Find your purpose and become the leader you were born to be. And one of my new friends, really smart guy, really great guy who serves a lot of people, Evan Carmichael, wrote it. And I'm going to read a little bit from chapter number 1. And I love this piece. And maybe it's because I just watched the series on TV on Michael Jordan, The Last Dance, which is really great, by the way, also. One of the things he says here is everybody has Michael Jordan talent at something. Everybody has a Michael Jordan talent at something. You just haven't found it yet. Or you have and you don't believe in yourself enough to go all in. To go all in, right? And you're a genius. I believe you're a genius. And so does he. You're amazing. You were not meant to live a photocopy of someone else's life. You were not created to wake up and do work that is below your capabilities. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something, and you need to uncover exactly what your purpose is and how you can serve and use the serve. So lots of pearls and gems and motivational pieces. Pick up Built to Serve. Evan Carmichael, rising star.
People have regrets. I mean, if you want to go to nursing home and just feel that for a minute, if you look into their eyes, you can see there's regret.
Well, most people do, but most people don't do anything. You see, I often say,
How do you do something?
well, there's where the goals come in. That's where the purpose for life comes in. You gotta have a main purpose. You gotta have a purpose for life. And you've gotta have meaningful goals. They've gotta be meaningful. You're trading your life for it. Like I often say in a seminar, I want you to imagine you're at the end of the road. And you know you're at the end of the road. Your body's so weak, they've got you tied in a wheelchair. Or they've got you in a crib bed. So you don't fall out, kill yourself.
Right.
Just imagine, all you can do is relive your life. I want you to imagine you're there and you go back and think, God, I wonder if we had moved there, what would have happened? If we had started that company, remember we were going to sell the house and start that company. If we had done this, I wonder what would have happened. And then, God, if I could only do it over again. I said, wouldn't that be terrible? Spend the last days of your life like that? Wouldn't it be better if you look back and say, wow, what a trip. God, I remember we did that. Remember, we blew our brains out on that. We lost everything we had. But you know, when you lose it big enough, it can be exhilarating. And then we did this. And what you're doing is laying there and you're reliving your whole life.
And that's the goal.
Got to have the goal.
If you want to see my last one-on-one with the amazing John Assaraf, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Well, we all own the most powerful biocomputer in the world, in the universe. And most people don't know how to change their brain to change their income.